Hey everyone, how's everyone doing? I hope you're having an amazing day. Today we are at day 14, budgeting. Okay, this is gonna be an awesome day. Before we start, I just want to say a quick prayer. Father, first, thank you. Thank you for waking us up this morning, for giving us another day, another chance to gather in your name. Father, you said where two or three are gathered, there you are in the midst. So thank you, God, for just being here. Thank you, Father, for your wisdom and the things you continue to teach us day by day. Thank you for the way that you're showing up in every single one of our lives in ways that we probably have never seen you move before. And we just want to thank you for that, Father. Thank you for being so constant, for being so consistent. And we just pray that you have your way. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so when it comes to budgeting, okay, this is something that, of course, the world is going to teach us over and over again. Have a budget, have a budget, have a budget. But for me personally, it did more harm than good because having a budget, it's like you're living frugally, right? You're living within your means, within a budget for a specific amount of time. But then you're out here, personally me, I was out here looking cheap. Like, how much is this? How much is this? How much is this? So, yes, I guess budgeting is good and it's a wise thing to do, especially if you're trying to save for something, but it's also very short-lived. A lot of the times we are only budgeting for a specific amount of time and then we get back into our habits. And that's because habits don't change overnight. And going from one behavioral extreme to another is not sustainable, which is why we talked about mostly it's about emotions, managing our emotions and managing our impulses, our triggers, our urges. Those are the things that need more help. Those are the things that need more managing way before money does, right? So I say that to say, in the book, there was a concept of conscious spending. In the book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, right? And it's the idea that you're living within your means while still spending freely on things that you care about. I actually introduced this a couple days ago, but our version, okay, our version is called spending wisely. So it's the same amount, it's the same idea, living within your means, but still spending freely on things that you care about, but laced with wisdom that comes from God, right? So I just think ours is better, right? Because God is in there. And so this is the idea. By now, hopefully, you should have completed your the chart that I was telling you guys about, the spending wisely chart, where you had to take amounts from your bank statements and then kind of categorize and see how much you're spending in each category. So this should be done by today. So this should be done by now. If you have not done it, please do it because it's going to be hard for you to catch up with the rest of the day. So please make it certain that you do that or you complete the chart today, okay? And so the idea is this. If you look at your bank statements, you probably noticed that there are two to three things that fluctuate. Okay, you have your fixed costs, like probably like rent, utilities, debt, loans, okay? You have those kind of fixed costs, but then you might have noticed that there's like two to three things that fluctuate, whether it be you shopping, whether it be you eating out, maybe it's you I don't know. It depends on what your good choices are. Okay. These are specific. The reason why I'm saying that is because we all have two to three things that we don't care how much money we're spending on it, we're spending. Okay. Everyone has two to three things. And if you have more, that means that you probably have to just cut it low just for a little bit, just for a temporary season as we figure out where your priorities are. Okay. Because there's sometimes that we have, like, for instance, I know some people that their good choice might be hair and makeup. Like they don't mind splurging on hair and makeup. So that's what I'm referring to. So when it comes to your good choices, find two to three things in your bank statements, based on how much, based on the chart that we did on a couple of days ago, right? Find two to three things that you love and you don't mind spending on. Because those are your good choices, okay? These are the ideas that you don't mind spending on, but where you can also cut down with effort and patience. And so the reason it's called good choices is because when you make a when you make a purchase of something that you really like for instance for me, I love to get a good new pair of shoes, right? I'm gonna say like this was a good choice. It's gonna go with a bunch of fits, those are things that it's like mentally we're telling ourselves it's okay that we spent this money. Okay. So it's a bit of like reverse psychology with ourselves, okay? And so now I'm gonna share my screen right now, just a moment. So I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna show you guys what I'm looking at. So this is the spending wisely framework. Okay. So here's a simple breakdown based on percentages of your income. So we have necessities, we have investments, we have saving goals, and then we have fund money. Okay. So as you can see, fund money is the second highest percentage at 15%. Because the thing about it, guys, is that we want to be able to live while still managing our finances, still prioritizing things that are important, but we still want to be able to live. And that's where the difference comes between a budget and our spending wisely framework. Because in a budget, usually there's no space, there's no allocation for you spending on anything that you want. You know, you're so confined to maybe your necessities and stuff like that. But with the spending wisely framework, we have a budget, we have some allocation for fun, you know, for enjoyment, for dining out, for entertainment, nail appointments, hair appointments. These things are still important. And that's what makes it livable because you'll be able to do this for the rest of your life. It's not just budgeting for a little amount of time, which is what the world will tell us to do. You are literally taking this framework and carrying it over month by month by month for the rest of your life. And so the way I'm gonna give you an example. There's an example right here actually. So Lisa makes about 4,000 per month after taxes. So her fixed costs, so tithes, giving to the poor, this is assuming that she has a fixed income. Because a lot of the times, especially I know in corporate, like you know how much you're gonna get paid. Like you know you expect a specific amount to hit your bank account, right? So that's why it would be easier. If you are an entrepreneur, it's still speaking from experience, it's it's still easy, but the percentages, personally for me, I'm gonna get to what I do as an entrepreneur afterwards. But let's say you're working corporate. You have a corporate job, you know exactly how much you're making every single month or every single paycheck. So you know what to expect. And so the idea is this, you know that 65% are going to your necessities, tithes, giving to the poor. Since you know exactly what to expect, your tithes are probably gonna look the same, more or less, right? Unless you get like a transfer or anything like that, more or less it's gonna look the same because it's like the first 10% of your income the moment your paycheck hits, that's your tithe, right? Giving to the poor, that just depends on, it's a part of, I like to make a generosity budget so that it's included in my necessities, so that, like, if I have some extra, or if I have cash laying around and I just give it, but for the most part, your rent, your utilities, your debt, your groceries, hygiene, for the most part, that is a set amount of expenses. You know how much you're gonna spend in all those categories, more or less. That's why there's 15% for surprises. There's like a 15% grace for surprises, okay? And um, now we look back at Lisa. Okay, Lisa, her fixed cost total to about 2,600. Her investment of that 4,000 is 10%. So $400 going towards her investments. Okay, she also has savings goals of $400. So $400 is going automatically to her savings per month. And look at her fund money. She has $600 to use on fund money. So she could use $600 towards dining out, entertainment, hobbies, whatever the case may be. And even 600 is a lot. I don't even spend that much per month on myself, okay? But Lisa, this is like this is like obviously just what's it called? It's a hypothetical kind of um example. So it might not actually be like this, but just to give you an example of how your money could be breaking down. So as you can see, it looks like a budget, but it's not, because there's a lot of flexibility. She's still investing and putting her savings in, or so she's still investing and putting in a certain amount of savings per month, but she's still enjoying her life. Like she's not confined to just her fixed costs or her investments or her savings. She can still live a little. And the good thing about good choices, right? So let's say her good choices are traveling and just eating out, right? Her good choices, these are the things that now she can move her money to. So what I mean by that is that, let's say she finishes paying off her school loans, which is one of her fixed costs, right? Now she can allocate that money towards her good choices. She could put that money towards her traveling. She could upgrade, she could get an Airbnb, she can like fly out, and like it and while this is happening, she is still putting money in her investments. Because the thing, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the thing that is super important in all of this is investments. Guys, that's the only way, literally. The Bible even tells us that in, is it Ecclesiastes 7? Let me see. The Bible tells us that, like, we have to invest. That's actually the only way really to build wealth. But let me see. Where's that scripture? One second, guys. This literally just came to my mind and I completely forgot about it. Um, Okay. Ecclesiastes 11:2 says, invest in seven ventures. I'm gonna read the whole thing, okay? Invest in many ventures. That's the title. Ship your grain across the sea. After many days, you may receive a return. Invest in seven ventures. Yes, in eight. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. If clouds are full of water, they pour rain on the earth. Whether a tree falls to the south or to the north, in the place where it falls, there it will lie. Whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. As you do not know the path of the wind or how the body is formed in a mother's womb, so you cannot understand the work of God, the maker of all things. Sow your seed in the morning, and at evening let your hands not be idle, for you do not know which seed which sorry, you do not know which will succeed, whether this or that, or whether both will do equally well. So the idea investing is a biblical principle. The same thing that the world keeps on promoting, all this stuff. It's just so funny because you just have to laugh because like the world will say this, and that, but they don't even know half the stuff they're talking about is literally from the Bible. But anyway, I digress. Investing is a biblical principle. It's something that we actually it's suggested, right? It's suggested to do, to invest. They were doing it back then. Ship your grain across the sea, you will receive a return, right? So the same way that God, when he invested in the world, he made us, and then he made us human, male and female, and then he gets a return on his investment to this day. We're breeding, we're reproducing, every single thing that he did gets a return to this day, right? So it's a biblical principle. So it's the same thing with us. We have to actually invest because it is necessary for long-term growth. That's why even corporate jobs these days, like it's literally embedded in their programs. Like there's still an investment. You could put money towards like a pension plan, a TFSA. We're gonna get more into investing a couple days. In a couple days, I think it's going to be it's day 16. Day 16, we're going to talk about investing and we're going to open accounts and all that stuff because investing is literally a non-negotiable, especially if we want to build not only wealth, but just some so like stability in general. Okay. And yes, you can invest even if you're in debt, but we're going to get into that later. All right. That being said, let's go back to our good choices. So yeah, good choices. She has leftover fund money. She could put her leftover fund money into investments. So now she's spending fund money, and but the whole time, no matter how much her priorities shift, because good choices will might shift. Okay, she might get rid of her car, and then all of a sudden she has more money. So now she can put even more money into her investments, or she can put more money into fund money. So do you guys see how this works? Like the allocation can change and will change the more that you live your life, but it's just more of like a simplified way to put it. And I'm going to show you guys shortly how it looks. Okay. And yes, so the best part about the framework is that it works at any income level. So even if you start earning more and want to elevate your lifestyle, you can do so guilt free while still investing, still saving, still making the wise choices. So tweak your ratios, especially if you have debt that you want to pay off aggressively. So we get into day 17. Debt trumps um takes the majority of almost everything. Well, not everything, it just depends on the kind of debt. So if you have credit card debt, you might not want to invest yet until that is cleared. But if you have student loan debt, we're going to get into this on day 17, but it just might as well talk about it right now. If you have student loan debt or any form of bigger debts with with lower interest rates, you can invest. And we're going to talk about that later. But if you have credit card debt, you might want to knock out and take out the investments and put all the money towards your credit card. Still have fun money because, live. But like, that's where the priorities have to shift. You get what I'm saying? And also saving too. Personally, guys, I learned that, especially when it came to knocking out debt, I took out investments and savings. I didn't save and I didn't invest while I was knocking out my debt. I was just throwing every dollar at my debt until it was cleared. And now I'm able to invest and now I'm able to save. So it's just about, and I still kept my fund money because, my nails are still going to get done. But the point is, you're still putting, you're like the money the investments and the savings goals are going all towards your debt because that's just the most important thing at the moment, right? All right. Now, that being said, I'm going to show you guys an example of how it's going to look. One second. Okay, I'm just gonna be I guess I'm gonna be a little vulnerable and just show you mine. So let's see. Oh wait, I don't wanna the title, man. Okay, I'm just gonna do this instead. I'm just gonna sh make create one with you guys on here. So I'm just gonna share my screen. Okay, so we have our spending wisely plan here, right? Okay, so by now, like I said, we already know how much we're spending every single month. Well, how much we spent in December, because that's all we can go by. Okay, let's say we spent 1,500 in December on rent and utilities. Of course, if you want to break down rent and then another category for utilities, please do that. Do whatever you please. The spending wisely plan is yours to tweak, to follow the way you want to do it. Just do it. Add as many categories. If you have a car note, if you have a car, whatever, just add. Okay. We want to make this as clear as possible so we know where our money is going. And so basically, we should know by now how much. The assignment a couple days ago on day 11 was to find out where your money is going. So you should have a total over here, how much of how sorry over here of how much your money or how much money you're spending per month. Okay. So now what you're gonna do is based on your income. I'm not too sure what your income is, but personally for me, I know that rent and utilities, I'm gonna spend no more than let's say $2,000. Okay. So now I know, now at the end of, and then for hygiene and groceries and hygiene, I'm gonna say for a month, I know that I'm gonna give myself a good, mm, I'll give myself a good 300 for groceries and hygiene. And I don't know, let's make up an income. I don't know what I should put as my income. Let me see. Let me see. Let's say my income is 4,000 dollars a month, okay? So I already know half of that is going towards rent. Okay. So now I know that $2,000 is what I have left for everything else. I'm not going according to the percentages right now. So that is not a good example, but I'm just gonna do it while you guys are here. So 4,000, let me see. So 65% of $4,000. So we already know off bat, we're paying tithes. So of that 4,000, my tithes are gonna be my tithes, generosity, giving, or whatever, that is gonna be $400 right off the bat. Because I already know that I'm trusting God with my money, right? So $400, that's gonna be tithes, that's gonna be giving to the poor, whatever the case may be. So now 65% of $4,000 is 2,600. Okay. So now if we remember, our fixed expenses are tithes, their rent, utilities, hygiene, stuff like this. So let's say now like it's if it's 2,600, that's gonna be 2,000 for rent, 400 for generosity. Groceries and hygiene might be 200. This is a really bad example, guys, because I know that this is like not really rent might not even be that high. I don't even know, guys. So just bear with me. Let me actually put the rent is usually like 1,000 something. Put 1,500. 1,500. By the way, I was really bad at math, so please bear with me. Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna put 300 for groceries. Okay. And then what's another fixed expense? The gym. Okay, so right now we're at 1,500 plus 300 plus 400. Now we have 400 left. Okay, so let's say the gym is 50. Gym is $50 a month. So that's plus 50. And then the phone bill. Let's say our phone bill is 100. I don't know about y'all, but my whole phone bill is 100. Expensive, okay? Now it's 2,350. So that's already 65% of our income, our $4,000 income, right? And then now we spent so far $2,350, okay? Right now we're creating envelopes. So let's see. 2,600 minus 2,350. Now we have 250 left for the rest of the month. So now 10% of that, let's see. Let's see. $40. $40 can go towards, so 10, sorry, 10% of $4,000 is what is 10% of $4,000? 10% of 4,000. Oh wait, we already put that in generosity. So it will be after the 250. The rest, the way I will work for me personally is now I have school loans, well, I have fund money. I know that I have $250 left. So I can put $100 for fund money. Because this is what it means to live but like what's it called? According to your means. Like you're not living above your means. And then investments. Let's say you don't have any school loans, you don't have any other debts. You can put maybe $50 to investments and then 100 and then there's another 50. There's actually one more $100. Let me see. Trying to see what the total is of this. The total of this is 2,500. So there's $100 left. What are we gonna do with it? Let's say we don't have subscriptions. Let's say we don't have school loans, or actually we could have a school loan. Let's say we have school loans and they're charging your card $100 a month. Okay. This is how it would look like. So now per month in January, on the last day of January, the last day of the month is what I usually do is I will look at my expenses and then I'm gonna see where all of my money went. And I'm mindful throughout the month, not in a way that like is like super like cheap and everything, but I'm just transferring exactly for what I need. So let's say I'm going out to I'm going out somewhere, right? This is me living according to my means. I'm not living above my means, and I'm still investing, and I'm still taking care of debt, but I could still have fun. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's like I guys personally, this is how this is almost identical to the way I actually live for real. When it comes to fun money, I split out. I like to get my nails done. That's the way I like to spend my fun money. But to be honest, I write it off. But when it comes to that, it's like, okay, I know that I want to spend at least that much money for fun. If I'm someone that likes to go out to eat, or I find myself eating out a lot more, then instead of groceries, this our groceries might look a lot cheaper. Let's say we live with our parents, our groceries might be a little less, and then we could put more towards fun money. But the idea is the important stuff, the priorities are still taken care of. So now this is basically your envelope. So at the end of the month, I'm gonna check to see how much I actually spent in every single one of these categories. And I'm going to write it down here to track my spending to see where my money has actually gone. And then when it comes to fund money, since I know it's $100, I'm going to transfer myself if I'm going out or if I feel like I want to spend specifically or I want to go out to whatever the case may be. I send myself $100 from my account into my Coho account, for example. And then I spend that money and then I put it down immediately. So it's like, okay, $100 gone. Now I can't spend any more fund money for the rest of the month. So yes, it is a bit restrictive. No, it's actually not that much restrictive because you are still taking care of the things that you need. It just depends on your ratios and how much you make. I don't know. This is just an example, okay? We're just breaking it down. This was live. I was not even planning on doing this, but I pray that this makes sense. So this is what living according to your means looks like, genuinely. Because especially in the world, we're told do what we have to do, or we're told you could do keep on spending, keep on tapping. But if we actually look individually at our lives and stuff, we don't need to spend as much as we actually need to spend. And the thing about this is like, again, you can move it. Let's say you don't pay rent at all. So you're saving a good $1,000, okay? Now you can put the rest of your money, not the rest of your money, but the large majority, a large chunk of it towards debt, because that's the first thing. You want to clear the debt first, then worry about investments, and then everything else, okay? But yeah, I hope this made sense. Um, and yeah, is any questions? No?
All good.
Okay, perfect. I hope this made sense. Did it make sense?
It did.
Okay, 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 okay. All
It
right,
kind of
good.
it's kind of like an accounting, like a balance sheet, basically.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. But just for our personal lives, because it's still important for us to track our income, be store with a little and God will give us more. So that's the idea. And yeah. So before we even and actually, I wanted to go over Judges. Oops. The book of Judges, what stood out yesterday specifically is Gideon, chapter 6 to 7. And so I wanted to talk about this briefly because a lot of the times Gideon resembles us, you know. At this time, he was telling God, he's like, because God was sending him to to save Israel out of the Midian's hand, right? And then God said, "Am I not sending you?" Right? God said, "I will be with you." And then Gideon was like, "But how can I save Israel? I'm the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family." A lot of the times we downplay or we discredit the way God made us because we don't see we don't like, similar to what Moses did, like, you know, like, I'm not even worthy, like, I stutter a lot, like, who's gonna hear me, you know? And so the idea of this and what I wanted to say today is that whatever God sent you for, he's going to help you through. And it even says in chapter 7, if we look, right? God well, also the fact that Gideon asked for a lot of signs. He was like, God, can you please show me a sign? Show me a sign. And then God did that every time. So every time you need confirmation for something, just ask God. And he will be there. He will give you grace and he will give you confirmations. But also in chapter 7, there was a time when Gideon, they were preparing to defeat the Midianites, right? And so this is what stood out to me. God said, well, Gideon said, no, so sorry. God said to Gideon, "You have too many men. I cannot deliver Midian into the hands of Israel, into their hands, or Israel would boast against me." At this time, I think he had, how many men did he have? I think it was like 30,000. Is it? It says that there was 22,000 at one point. Okay. I'm not saying that that was the original number, but that's what I'm saying that it is here. From here, it went down to 22,000. But God said, "I want you to have only 300 men." So they had to fight with 300 men. And so and then they ended up defeating the Midianites. So, and the way they ended up defeating the Midianites is that the Lord caused the men throughout the camp to turn on each other with their own swords. So he caused confusion in their own camp. So they started killing off each other. The enemy started killing off each other. And this showed me that when God goes ahead, numbers don't matter. Now, I'm not saying numbers don't matter when it comes to our money. Of course, like, you know, we have to take care of these stuff. But I'm just saying, like, when God goes ahead, even like what we're doing, what we are when we're taking care of our finances, no matter what it is, numbers don't matter. How many followers you have, it doesn't matter because God is going ahead. God is going ahead and he will give you victory as long as you follow him. We already have victory, okay? So, yeah, especially if he already give you the word. Yes, you have victory, then you have victory. I just want to make sure that that's clear. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Oh, yes, and another thing that stood out to me, especially in the book of Judges, is if you look at chapter 3. Sorry, no. If you look at chapter 3, there's different names. There's Othniel, there's Ehud, there's Deborah, there's Shamgar, all these people, okay? Those are the judges. The context at this time is that Joshua had died. You know, Joshua, he led the Israelites into the promised land at this point. But still, the Israelites decided to disobey God. The Israelites decided to worship their own gods, their own idols, right? And so they kept on being in rebellion to God. It actually says the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord, and they forgot the Lord their God and served the Baals and the Asherahs. The Baals and the Asherahs, those are the gods that we talked about earlier on. I think it was day one. Baal, like the god of money, the god of rain, you know, to bring to give them, like, for reproduction in the sense of to like for land, right? To fertilize so that they could eat, right? So they were bowing to that god so that they could eat, right? Asherah, the god of like fertility and stuff like this, right? So they were serving these gods again. Mind you, they left the promised land. So that's a reminder to all of us to always stay humble, okay? And this is a reminder for myself as well. Always stay humble because, yes, we can be a promised land Israelite. It is possible. But sometimes it is possible for us to also fall back into habits that the Lord delivered us from. And it is possible also for us to forget the things that God did for us. It's like sometimes we move on, we get into where we're supposed to go. You know, God did it, God showed up, we're thanking God. And after that, we tend to forget that God did what he did, right? And then we start serving our God, our other gods. You know, we're back on social media, doom scrolling. We're back talking to somebody that God never told us to talk to. We're back idolizing a man, idolizing a woman. That's literally what the Israelites did in this sense, right? And so every single time it says right here in verse 9, chapter 3, verse 9, but then they cried out to the Lord. He raised them up a deliverer. And guys, the names that I named earlier, Athniel, Ehud, Shamgar, Deborah, these are all people, all judges that God rose up to deliver them because every single time they would do evil in the eyes of the Lord. That's why I want you guys to pay attention to, especially in chapter 3. If you see it, the first couple lines, it's like the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. Again, the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. Again, the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. Like it's crazy how much we do evil in the eyes of the Lord, you know? But God still hears our cries. He still has mercy. He still has grace, compassion, and he keeps on sending us deliverers. He keeps on sending us he keeps on helping us be delivered from these things. And it's just like I'm just at a point in my life and I pray that we all are, but we just don't want to abuse grace like this anymore. Like, imagine God put you in the promised land, He led you to the promised land, and you're still choosing to worship the other gods. You know what I mean? So that's just something that really stood out to me. If you guys can just read chapter 3, it will get you so angry because it's like He keeps on delivering you guys, and you guys keep on doing the same thing. It's like they did evil, they cried, and after the Lord, it's like the Lord like I guess punish them, like their his anger burn against them. Then they cry to God, and then God delivers them. It's the same thing. They did evil, the Lord gets mad, they cry out, and then God delivers them. It's like the same repeated cycle in chapter 3, and it's so messed up. It's so messed up. But that's the reality of this, right? This is the reality of life because we do the exact same thing. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I think. I feel like I was going to say something, but now I don't remember what I was going to say. But so I guess it's going to come tomorrow. If it does, then I'll just say it tomorrow. But yes, the homework for today is yeah, just create your spending envelopes. So again, look at the allocation percentages and just figure out your envelopes the way that I showed you. And then yeah, so then start living that way, I guess. But like we're not spending right now, obviously. But start tracking and stuff like that because it's really going to help you and you're gonna see that God is going to definitely give you increase because you're keeping because you're gonna be stewarding the little that he has or that he's giving you. And so he's gonna give you more. That's the way our God works. So that's pretty much it. Read and meditate on Judges 9 to 12. If you haven't read so far, just if you could please read at least chapter 3 to chapter 8, about Gideon and all these things and about the Israelites, that would be really cool. But yeah, that's about it. If that's everything, see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.